It's our Geeky Science Alert, just a very brief one, then we'll pick up your calls and get into some of the other news of the day. But this is my opportunity to share with you my favorite science news story of the day. This is from Science Daily. And this went to the Supreme Court in 2010, last year. Should violence in video games be allowed, or should it be restrictable like pornography is? And at that point in time, there was no scientific evidence that violent video games produced any bad outcomes. I mean, they couldn't associate violent video games with, for example, people committing crimes. Nobody had done the research. So somebody did. And this was the co-authors Thom Hartmann, William Cronenberger, Christine Mosier, Vincent Matthews, blah, 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 blah. Research. What they did is they took two groups of young men, ages 18 to 29. So we're not talking about kids here who have very plastic and impressionable brains. We're talking about young men, 18 to 29, two groups, healthy adult males, randomly assigned them to two groups. One group had to spend 10 hours a day at home for 1 week playing violent video games, and the other group just spent their lives and did not play any video games. And they did functional magnetic resonance imaging, the fMRI. It's a way of looking inside the brain and looking at the soft tissue structures of the brain to see what's going on inside the brain, right? In terms of actual physical changes in the brain, as well as brain function. And what they found, an fMRI analysis of long-term effects, what they found is that just that 1 week, 10 hours a day, 1 week of playing violent video games produced long-term and perhaps permanent. I mean, we won't know until they go back 10, 20, 30 years from now and do another fMRI of these young people, in the brain regions associated with cognitive function and emotional control. Yang Wang, MD, the assistant research professor at the Department of Radiology and Imaging Sciences at Indiana State University of Medicine in Indianapolis, where the study was conducted, said, "For the first time, we have found that a sample of randomly assigned young adults showed less activation in certain frontal brain regions," that's where thinking and regulation of behavior is, following a week of playing video games at home. These brain regions are important for controlling emotion and aggressive behavior. They looked at them at the end of 1 week, and then they looked at them at the end of 2 weeks. With the second week, they didn't play the violent video games. And the conclusion that they came to was that, well, after 1 week of violent video play game, the video game members showed less activation in the left anterior frontal lobe during the emotional task, less activation in the anterior cingulate, if I'm pronouncing that right, cortex during the counting task. In other words, it decreased cognitive function, thinking, and it decreased emotional regulation. Not good. Which raises another question, and he said these findings indicate that violent video game play has a long-term effect on brain functioning. Okay, so that raises in my mind a second question, which is if playing a violent video game for 10 hours changes your brain permanently, what about going off to war in Iraq, where it's 24/7 for a year? Or any war for that matter. I mean, isn't this the beginning of some sort of really strong evidence that we should just declare war at mass insanity and end it forever? Or at the very least, do everything possible to avoid it? Unlike George W. Bush, who just so eagerly, him and, draft dodger Dick Cheney, oh boy, let's have a war. When the one guy who'd actually seen war, Colin Powell, was going, wait a minute, guys. So, anyway, just some thoughts.